Big Talk Nation. Welcome back to another episode of the Big Talk Podcast with Chris and Gregg. This is Chris.
This is Gregg.
And this is the second annual Valentine's Day special part 2. Gregg's version. 1.0.
Whoa. Gregg's playlist. Go ahead and do the business.
God, dude, you're really manhandling that microphone. You're probably the reason this one broke, dude. You're manhandling it, dude. I had to tape it up, dude. Giving the microphone a little herky jerky. Must have been when you were reviewing your list, your ballads list.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I forgot on the last episode. I won't forget this time. Big Talk Podcast with Chris and Gregg. TikTok, Instagram at BigTalkCG.podcast. YouTube, Facebook. Search up the Big Talk Podcast with Chris and Gregg. That's Gregg with 3 G's, 1 in the front, 2 in the back. Let's go. I forgot to mention it last time. At BigTalkCG at gmail.com. That's it. Spotify, Apple, YouTube. It's probably the best 3 spots.
Bullhorn, Stitcher,
Yeah.
Podbean.
Yep. They're all there. I think that the Spotify and the Apple are.
Yeah.
Google's good too.
Yeah.
That's right. Google and Samsung.
Google
We're worldwide. Let's go.
Oh, we're still
all right, Greg,
worldwide.
what are we doing? What are we doing?
All
here?
right, this is my playlist. This is the Valentine's special. We thought about power ballads, but this is definitely, there's a lot of power ballads on here. And to be honest, Chris, some of these songs were on last year's playlist that I cut out. And I knew if we did another episode, I was definitely going to put them on here. And I'll explain some of the songs, but we're starting off with a song called Don't Walk Away from Danger Danger. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you ever heard this before. Have you heard this?
Yeah, from the album, from listening to the album. I have the tape.
Oh, okay, good. I wasn't sure on that, but this is one of those definitely romantic power ballads, which I definitely love. It's about heartbreak, but I still loved it because it reminds me to fight when things are bad. Mm-hmm. Don't walk away. Come back, and we're going to fight for our love. Listen to your heart. Hear what I say.
Don't walk away. We can make it work.
Away. We can make it work.
We can try to make it work.
And this was one of those songs that I definitely loved. It was from their debut album from 1989 called Danger Danger. I thought this was a great band, and I liked it a lot. The only thing I thought funny from this band was when they came out with their first single. The first single was Bang Bang. The name of the band was Danger Danger, and they had another song called Naughty Naughty. It was like, do you really, guys? Are you just stuttering? Can you come up?
Yeah.
Love, and shoot.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, about them, they definitely did that.
That was definitely funny about this band, but definitely good band. I thought this was great. They came out at a good time, right on the end of the 80s into the 90s. I think they pulled out another album. It did mediocre, but after that they fell apart, and I kind of think they do some independence now, but whatever. This is definitely one of those songs that I definitely love. I've loved it for many years, and I had to throw this on my playlist. And there's a reason why I started off with this song, and then as soon as we towards the end of the playlist, I'll finish it up why I did that.
So this is a concept playlist. Is that what you're telling me?
This is a concept playlist.
Concept playlist,
Yeah.
beginning to end. I just threw mine together. And then acted like I knew what I was doing, but you actually put thought into this one.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
go on to the next song, man. Another one. This is the next song. Great band. Oh my God. This is a band called Wildside. When they began I think they got together in '88. They were known as Young Guns. So here in Hollywood, when they were on the Sunset Strip, they were known as Young Guns. For some reason, they changed their name, and they ended up on Wildside, and they signed with Capitol Records. They pulled out, their album came out in '92 called Under the Influence. And man, that album blew me away from beginning to end. I think they have 10 or 11 songs. And there's a good solid 8 songs that are just ripping, rocking, or very emotional, like this song called Just Another Night. Loved it. I thought this was a great band that didn't do anything after their first album came out, or the record company kind of didn't do anything after them when the grunge movement, because this is 92, 93 is when grunge came out, and nobody was playing them, and they just kind of fizzled.
Yeah.
What did you think of the song?
I honestly think it's one of the better ones on your list. Yeah, the first two, I'm 2 for 2 on your list, dude. Danger, the first band had on there. They kind of get lumped in with a lot of those bands that came in like right at the tail end and just kind of get thrown away.
Yeah.
I think this band here, Wildside, they definitely have a sound that is theirs, and I think that they're great. I think that they're vastly underrated, and most people don't even know that they ever existed. Great choice.
Yeah. Definitely. I don't know if you're familiar with one of the guitarists. I think his name is Brent Woods. He was the guitarist for Vince Neil on his solo band. I don't think he still plays them today, but when Vince Neil was doing his solo work, that guy was with him.
You're invited, but your friend can't come?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. On stuff like that, man. Go ahead and go to the next song, man, on this one. So this was definitely another one of those songs that I definitely love. It's called Mine from Bulletboys. The album was released in 93, and the album is called Zaza. This was the third album from the guys. Bulletboys, to me, was a great rockin' band. They had all the magic and all the charisma that I loved from hard rock. I wouldn't say heavy metal, we'll say hard rock. Ted Templeman released or produced their first album and their second album. I'm not sure if he did this third one, but there was some magic and charisma that I definitely loved about this band. I met him a few times. The singer Mark actually went to Montebello High School, which is the high school my daughter went to, and I always would say stuff to her, but she never believed me. And this song has just, since I first heard it, I fell in love with it. I have so much emotion for this. This was on my list last year, but I had to cut it. I had to cut the fat, and I had to play it this year. So this was definitely one of those songs that I knew to keep on my list for this. I love this song, man.
I am not a huge Bulletboys fan, and I'll be honest, the first time when the song started playing, you know what it reminds me of right out of the gate?
Yeah. Like bluesy type.
No, it reminds me of a Cialis infomercial. That little strumming at the beginning. Cialis, the erectile dysfunction drug or whatever? The ED drug?
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of, because they had their theme music, and I had to play it back like 3 times and go. But I'm not a big fan of Bulletboys. You lost me on this one, but that's it. It's just, these aren't lists for each other. These are lists for ourselves.
Yeah, ourselves.
So
exactly.
We're not gonna like each other's lists all the way through, but see, that guitar reminds me of a Cialis commercial.
Oh, okay. When I had this in '93, it was more of like a bluesy rockabilly type feel. It wasn't a traditional, like even the drums and the way they're playing is just, a certain sound to it, and that's what I loved it. It was more 50s rockabilly type bluesy song, and that's what was really appealing for me, and that's why I still have that in my mind. It's a very, songworm type of, for me, that I loved. I love it. Can't say,
Sweet.
how much more I love about this kind of stuff.
Let's go to the next one.
Yeah, go ahead and go to the next one. All right. This is another a band that I love from the 80s, Enuff's Enuff. This is their second album. It's called Strength, which is this song. Dude, when I first heard this song, it really meant something to me, because it's the same thing where you're talking about a lover, your partner, and sometimes you need someone who's going to be your strength that you would fight for. And that's what I loved about it, because, I've been in some relationships, and sometimes I wanted my partner to be stronger than they were or different than they were, and it wasn't. But this song to me was real, like, I believe the words he said, and that's what messed me up on it, was I believe strength. I need someone who's going to hold me up. I need someone who I can hold up and be their strength when they need to be my strength too. And that's what I loved about this song. And it talks about being there for someone and being really like, hey, I'm in love with you, and I will do anything you need to be by your side. And that's what I took from this song. I dig it. Go ahead, you go first.
For me, it's okay. I like it better than the last one. It gives me It gives me Phantom of the Opera because it sounds like Phantom of the Opera.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun. Just like the Phantom of the Opera song from the musical. And I don't know what the fuck they're doing with the violin solo towards the end. It's like, what are you guys doing? I mean, to me, I didn't like it. Besides that, Enuff's Enough is another one of those bands that just doesn't get their due. And I wish they did because they are a great band.
Well, this came from their second album. You know, that first one was really good.
Yeah.
They came out with this. And I thought there was a lot of deep cuts from this album that really worked. So when I went back to look at this album, you know, because sometimes I make a ton of playlists, there was a lot of songs that I loved from this. And this was one of those songs that I had for many. Yeah, you know, Chris, this is one of those songs that I remembered I had, and I put it into the playlist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this came from towards the end. Because I was like, no, I love this song. I really dig this. I like the way this sounds. Go on to the next one.
Let's
on
go.
This one. All right, if this sounds familiar, well, this is definitely a song we've heard before on Chris's playlist called I Love You from the Climax Blues Band. This is Tesla doing a cover of I Love You. And I thought they did a excellent cover.
Yeah.
Same feel in the 70s, but you hear Keith's vocals, and I thought it works. I absolutely love it from the first time I heard it.
Yeah, Tesla just has one of the unsung greats of this era, and yeah, they're doing a great job of a cover of this song. They make it enough of their own, but also still keeping true to what the song was. Love it, dude. Love it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to bash a song that we love the original, and if somebody does a cover, it's like, wow, and a band that we love too, Tesla. Yeah. They just grade it. So this was another one too that I knew I needed to put on my list because it was just such an excellent cover, great song. I love it, man. There's really not, and it actually from this album is called Twisted Wires from 2011. What they did was they took all their hits, a lot of their songs, and just kind of did an acoustic version of it, and they kind of added a few things that they loved.
Yeah.
And it worked. I thought that album worked too. It was kind of a nice, fun album to have.
I agree with you, dude. Great pick, great choice. I kind of tossed around the idea of putting this one on. I was like, no, I'm going to go OG. But I'm glad you got this on here so we can show both sides of it.
Yeah.
A great choice.
And this was one of those things that made me laugh when I saw yours that you had on there. And I was like, oh, shit. Me and Chris have it again. But we always different versions.
Like that,
sometimes we do. Yeah. But before you go to the next song, I want to say something. So the next 4 songs are grouped in because of the songwriter Nikki Sixx. Of course, Nikki Sixx of Motley Crue. He had some side projects. He did some different things, and there have been songs that I just absolutely love. So the next 4 songs are all about Nikki Sixx. Not really Motley Crue, but some side projects and some other things he's done. And we're going to give it a listen, Chris. So go ahead and go to the next one, and I'll talk about this. All right. This is a song called Stormy. Nikki did a song about his daughter. Her name is Sixx, and he kind of did it, and I thought it was so beautiful because I had a daughter too, and it kind of reminded me of her and how much I love her, and you know, I will always love you, do what you need to do, I will give you the world, and I thought it was beautiful, and I loved it. This is taken from a band called 58, which anybody knows, Nikki Sixx was born in 1958, so he kind of named the band after that. And this is kind of a rock rap fusion type of band, and the album is really different and out there, and there are a lot of great songs, but this song resonated with me so much because of the love I had for my daughter, and I just loved it. And my daughter doesn't remember, but I would sing this song a lot to her when we were in the cars, and you know, like, I'm sure if she heard it, she would be like, how do I know this song? But this is one of those things that I just loved. If you don't know anything about this band, it was a little side project he did. And if you know, Steve Gibb was on here, which is Barry's son from the Bee Gees. Mm-hmm. Barry Gibb, this is his son Steve, who played guitar. There was a singer was named David Darlings, who's a record producer and does some other stuff, and the drummer is called Baker. It's a little funky. It's a little out there, but I dug it. I really dug this. There's a lot of craziness, different sounds on there, but this song was just so beautiful about my daughter. And obviously, you have a daughter too. You have 2 daughters. You can kind of feel something different and stuff. What did you think about this?
The one thing I hate is when I am going to say what I want to say, and then you come out with something beautiful and say how much it reminds you of your daughter and all these things. Because what I really want to say is I thought the song was terrible.
Okay.
I think the song is terrible, and I'll just leave it at that.
But I want you to say. I want you to say.
I didn't care for it at all.
Yeah. Because you didn't know, you're unfamiliar with this type stuff.
Well, no, it's music. I don't only like one kind of music, but I just was like, I just didn't think it was a very good song.
Okay.
I don't like we could go into it deeper if you want, but we'll just leave it at that.
We can leave it like that, man. Go on to the next one if you want, man.
Yeah, I didn't care for it. And I was actually surprised that Nikki Sixx was in the band and, wrote/co-wrote the song, because I was like, really? Huh. Okay.
Sometimes people have other shit they want to say. All right. So anyways, like I said, this is Nikki Sixx. Now we're going into Motley Crue.
Mm-hmm.
This first one is from their debut album, but their self-titled album called Motley Crue, and this is when they joined, when Vince left the band, and they picked up John Corabi, and he came in and brought a different element, and they brought a different power, different sound,
grit,
different grit into the band, and they have maybe another kind of love song, but this one I thought was a little different. It's mostly acoustic. Some good riffs in it, and I thought it was definitely a beautiful song. It's called Loveshine. I thought it was great. How about you?
Love it. A great choice. I got nothing bad to say about the song. The John Corabi album is so different than a lot of the other stuff they did. It just brought a whole nother side of the band. You now had a legit singer, you had a legit fourth musician in the band, and songwriter. It really took them to another level, I thought, as we'll see coming up on the next song you pick. Love it, dude. Love this song. That's it.
Great.
Right. Ready? Are you ready?
Why don't we bring me to the next one since you kind of brought it up already? All right. Next one. This is definitely Motley Crue again. This is when Vince got back in the band. They did an album called Generation Swine, which they did a left turn. They really, not just a left turn. And it was cool that they were back. It just, people didn't want a left turn. They wanted Shout at the Devil and Girls, Girls, Girls and Dr. Feelgood. And they didn't get it. They got this crazy sound wall of death that some people really just didn't like.
Well, I think that when a band breaks up or someone leaves and comes back, Vince Neil being singer, when you're coming out with that first thing back, they don't want something new. Our band is back, and I want our band to put out an album that is a Motley Crue album, not what is... I don't know what this is. This...
Electronic
I don't even
shit.
know what to say about this. For one, I'm not really a big fan of the song, but knowing it's a Motley Crue song even just makes it worse for me. And I get why all those fans were like, no, thank you.
All right, so now let me tell you
Don't
why.
Don't tell me you're going to give me some fucking beautiful story about some of this now and make me feel like a piece of shit. Thank you.
I am going to give you a story on this, why I love this song too. So it's a little sentimental for me, this song, because it kind of starts off. This song really is about someone, you're not sure if your lover is into you or has the magic is still there. Mm-hmm. I was going through with this with my first wife. I wasn't sure if the magic was still there. At the end of the song, they kind of talk about, well, let's make a baby together. And that's what resonated with me. So I was having a lot of problems with my wife. And let's just say that when at the end of the song came where, hey, let's have a baby together, it was kind of like, it reminded me so much of the trouble that I went through, the darkness that I went through with her around that time, that it reminds me of it. And I don't hate it. I love it because I got my daughter out of that. And, would I go through all that pain again that I went through to do it? Hell no. But knowing I may not have a daughter, I might want to go through it again. Mm-hmm. And that's what he's right now. He's going to say, let's make a baby inside of you. It's just kind of one of those things that I love this song because of that. So yes, I have a story. And like I said, a lot of these songs are stories that I wanted to say, and that's what I wanted to say on my list.
It's a concept playlist.
It's a concept playlist. Yeah. And like I said, Chris, I'll agree with you. I loved this album because I like crazy shit. I want to hear something different.
Like, I don't know what this is.
This is Mick doing
This is
a different sound. I know it's not a usual solo. Maybe it's a Judas Priest synthesizer guitar, right? Turbo Lover.
I don't know what this is.
Right, why don't you go to the last song?
All right, let's go.
All right, this song is called Smile. This is a band called 6 a.m., which is Nikki Sixx. We're grouping in Nikki Sixx on the time. And he did a solo at work because he left Motley Crue a little bit. And this is a song that he wrote about his future wife. But at the time, I couldn't relate to him as a beautiful wife. I related to as my daughter. So my daughter was the one through everything that sometimes I would go through some dark times, but knowing she was alive, knowing she was out there, knowing I was going to see her, knowing I was going to be around her, knowing I was going to be I'm her dad, made me smile. And that's what I took from it. I looked in and saw my daughter through this song. And you can relate it to anybody, from a loved one, your family, this and that, but someone who's going to make me smile, and that was my daughter through most of my times that I needed to be.
I'm a fan of 6 a.m. I think that they're great. I thought it was a great band they put together with Michael and DJ. And Nikki. I don't know. They only have 2 albums out so far?
No, they have
3?
Like 4.
Okay. So I haven't maybe heard any of their newest stuff, but those first couple albums are great.
Yeah. And they went for a lot of modern rock sound for themselves, and that's what made it different than Motley Crue. Motley Crue was more rock. This was more of a modern rock sound.
But it was still rock. It wasn't what we just heard. It was still straight rock.
Correct.
Straight up rock.
Correct.
Did I tell you about the time I saw DJ Ashba in the streets? I was in Burbank, and he crossed the street. He was crossing the street in front of me, a couple cars in front of me, and I actually opened up my door, got out, and I was like, DJ, what's up, man? Love your play. Had to get back in the car. You know,
man,
and
you never
he was
know.
like, what's up, dude? So
cool.
That's cool. He probably remembers me. When he hears this episode, he'll remember.
This is a great, beautiful song. I definitely love it.
I agree.
Like I said, you can really apply it to anybody, how you feel it. If you have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a lover, a wife, a spouse, your parents. For me, I related it to my daughter, and it was great. Do you want to bring me the next song?
Yeah, I'm still waiting for where's the Making Love song? Where's the Making Love song?
You don't get that out of me, baby. Yeah, Chris, sometimes you just make me smile.
I need the Making Love song. If you guys want to make love, go listen to mine and make love all night long, baby.
Just because you have love in every fucking song doesn't mean it's a love song.
But they are all love songs.
Yeah, they are.
Let's talk about some Blue Murder.
All right.
Blue Murder, Jelly Roll.
Blue Murder is a super group that came out. John Sixx, Carmine Appice, and I think Frankie. No, I forgot what his different name is. God damn it.
It's okay. I'll look it up for you.
Was the bass player. And they kind of came out with a great album, and it was just, this is one of those songs too that I love. This is also one of I think the last song that I added on my playlist. I just went on. It's not really a power ballad, but till you get to the end, it kind of does a little back and forth.
Yeah, when I saw this was on your list, I was like, that's not a ballad. But then I was like, oh, okay, at the end when it slows down,
It shows emotion.
It's a ballad, but this whole first half of the song isn't about. So I was like, okay, I'll give it to him. I'll let him put it on me. I'll let him put it on his own list.
I really loved it. So this was the first single they came out with, and I thought it was great. I thought there was a lot of good stuff from this song. Power, emotion, showing like love. So it starts off with love, love, love. I love you. This is something going on, and then it kind of does a little right turn and kind of slows down and turns into, baby, I really love you and don't leave me type of song. But I dug it. I thought this was great, man.
Yeah, one of those bands that, honestly, by the way, Tony Franklin.
Tony Franklin.
This is one of those bands nobody ever talks about, and they are a monster. I love
They're
it.
a great
I
supergroup.
love it when a three-piece, like Rush or Blue Murder can just put out that sound. It sounds like 100 guys playing. Great, dude. I mean, all their songs are a little bit unradio friendly because they're all like 5 minutes long, but they're all great. Valley of the Kings is great. That whole album is, at worst, really good. The whole album is good. So, I love that you have this song on here. I wouldn't say it's a ballad, but
well, as soon as you hear it now when you start listening to it, it came from a fun, happy song, and now it's breaking down to like, oh shit, here we go, here we go, and he'll
Carmine's
start.
dropping
Carmine,
right there.
dude. See, love can break your heart. Now it's heartache. So from, hey honey, everything's good, I love you. Now it's like, don't leave me. I gave you everything I had.
Do you know who produced this album?
No, who?
Bob Rock.
No way.
Goddamn Bob Rock.
Yeah. I bet you he was doing keyboards.
I bet. I would have to look, but probably.
No, that's Bo Hill. Sorry,
Oh,
Bo
yeah.
Hill was doing the keyboards.
He was too busy doing something with Rat.
But this song is I really love the song, and I think this was the last song that I added because I just heard it on the radio. I heard it on my speakers and was like, I need to have this song on here. I love this song too much. Go on to the next song because I got a group.
You were like in trance right there, listening to the song or something, dude. I don't know.
It's just so much. I love it. I can hear it all the time.
All right, let's
Love
go.
it. All right. So this is a combination, a twofer, 1-2 on this, where this is a band called Injected. The reason why I have it on there is I love this fucking song. This is one of those songs that they came out. The album was released on 2001. Their debut album is called Injected. The producer was Butch Walker, which we'll hear on the next song. But for this, I thought this album was great. It had at least 5 or 6 killer rockin' tunes that I absolutely loved. And this song, of course, a power ballad, meant so much to me. Only Hurts a While is when you, after a heartbreak, you gotta realize it's only gonna hurt for a while. And that's what this song meant to me. If I ever went through something like that in my life, which I did many times, it made me feel good. It made me feel positive. Like, it's only going to hurt for a while. Let me just get through this. However long it takes me, I'll be okay. I got to move forward. And I loved it. And I thought this was great. Any thoughts on this?
I had never heard this song before, and I don't listen to a lot of Incubus, but from what I've heard of them, this band sounds like they wish they were Incubus. Just from what I've heard of Incubus, their sound, this band sounds like they wish they were them or is influenced by them maybe. I don't know who came first. I'm not really sure, but
Incubus came first.
It was okay. I didn't think it was, after a couple listens, it got better. The first time I heard it, I was like, but after listening to it a couple times, I was like, oh, not bad. So, that's it.
You got to it like, okay, it's a power ballad, blah, 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 blah.
I didn't really think it was a power ballad. I don't know. It's more of like a rock song. I don't know.
Okay.
I wasn't really on the power ballad train with this one, but
all right. Go ahead and move it.
But we're not going to agree. It's not my list. It doesn't matter.
Go on to the next one.
Let's go.
All right. Like I said, I mentioned this is Butch Walker. He was in a band called Marvelous 3. I've followed Butch Walker for a lot, and I still follow him today. He was in a band called Bite the Bullet that came from Georgia. They came to Los Angeles, got a record contract, changed their name to South Gang. and that's when I first started to hear a lot about Butch Walker. South Gang had 2 great albums, and then this kind of fizzled. And then I heard Butch Walker was with the guys from South Gang. Other than the singer, this is South Gang without the singer. And it was Butch is starting to sing now. They had another guy doing bass, and then the drummer, I think his name was Slug, was doing drums still. And now they went as a 3-piece. A little more the maybe punkish, pop punk band. But this album was really good, and I really loved it. I love this song. Same thing. Heartbreak. Just sometimes let me go. Just you gotta let. If the love isn't working, just let me go. We're just fucked up. This is a disaster and a mess. But this song I loved it, and I love Butch Walker today as a solo artist and a lot of shit he does, which is not more of my bread and butter, which is my hair metal and rock and roll and that kind of stuff. But I do love it because I love his voice and I love the way he writes and stuff like that. So I like this song and I love this song so much. Any thoughts, Chris?
It's not terrible.
Okay.
It's not terrible. It sounds like something that would come. Sounds like some of the stuff that was coming out in the later mid 90s, like a 97 area, where it was like, oh, alternative's great. Let's pop it up a little bit.
98. Good call.
Not
good
so
call,
much
man.
a pop punk, but more of like a pop alternative. Like, let's add some pop onto it. Catchy. It's got a catchy hook to it. Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Awesome. Yeah, great stuff. Go ahead and go to the next one, man. I'm still grouping into this kind of twofer stuff. I did a little more. This is more rock type song. So this song is called "Stare Too Long," and if you can believe it, this is a band from Corrosion of Conformity, COC. Mm-hmm. This is an album called America's Volume Dealer. Mm-hmm. Great stuff. That this was one of those songs that kind of took me a long time to fall in love with, because I loved some of the other songs, and then I kind of would just let the album play, and I heard this song, and I go, hey, that's pretty good. And I would hear it again, and hear it again, and hear it again. I love this song, and I think it's great. It's on one of my favorites. It just reminds me of a bluesy kickback song, and I love it. Same thing like, hey, I'm at the beach, I got a beer, I got a drink, I'm just chilling, I'm relaxing, life is calm and feeling good, and that's what I loved it.
Yeah,
I think it's cool.
It's a cool song, dude. Great sound to it, dude. Yeah. You weren't expecting something like this out of Corrosion and Conformity, and I actually, when I was listening to this, I was like, Corrosion and Conformity. I had to go to, like, I was listening to your list. I had to go to Spotify and go back and be like, is this the same Corrosion? I had to go back like to their first couple albums. I was like, holy shit, dude, because I really didn't follow them later on.
Correct.
They really changed their sound, obviously. I didn't listen to any more of this album, but it's totally the other side of the pillow from their first couple albums.
Correct.
For sure.
Corrosion of Conformity was kind of like a skate punk band when they first began, first album or two. They added a new guitarist, Pepper, and he took over singing, so that made him have almost a Black Sabbath stoner type songs, when they started to play, when he got involved with them. But I love this song, man. It just makes me feel happy, and I love it. It's
kind of like a cruising down the street in your convertible,
exactly,
headed to the beach or something like that. Just like it almost gives off that vibe of like, I'm free of something now.
Yes.
Like I'm free. I've let go of something and now I'm free. That's kind of the vibe this song gives me.
And that's what I think when it says stare too long. Sometimes you're just staring, and when you break free of that, you're like, oh shit, I feel good about myself because I was staring or concentrating on this too much, and I'm free. So. Yeah. And even the solo, you could just kind of just fucking rocking it. Just
that could be you playing it. Is that you right there?
Could be. Bring me to the next song, baby.
Let's go.
I've talked about my daughter a few times, and this was definitely one of those songs that I fucking loved. This is Zakk Wylde. He was doing some solo albums. He did an all acoustic album called Book of Shadows in 1999, and one of the songs was All for You. Is that what the name of the song is? Thank You Child. And it really resonated with me because my daughter, and like I said, sometimes I would go through a lot of shit. Like obviously I went through a lot of stuff with her mom where I would see her, I wouldn't see her, she wouldn't let me see her. She, fought me through every tooth and fucking nail on seeing her. So I definitely missed her. And when I missed her, man. But I thanked her every time. My daughter knows that I just living all worthwhile because of my daughter. And I really loved that. So that's why I loved Zakk Wylde on this. And this is a great song, I thought, too, man. I mean, it showed a different side of Zakk Wylde from not being just a Ozzy's guitarist. He's fucking playing piano and he's fucking acoustic guitar and he's fucking singing. You wouldn't think a guy with a fucking big beard is going to sing like this. It's great, man. Any thoughts on this?
I love it. I love it. And I love how a couple times when he's singing, he's right on that verge of going into that classic Black Label vocal style that he has where it's instantly identifiable, like right here. Like he's always toying with that throughout the whole song. And I love how the guitars come in, heavy on a couple times, good crunch comes in, low, and then again at the end. And I think it's a great song. It's a beautiful song, well performed, great written. I love it.
Yeah, what more can you say?
Honestly, it might be the best song you have on your list.
Wow. So this is what we're talking about right now. Take a listen.
And you think more is coming, but I mean more guitars, but it's just that kind of a thing through the whole thing, which adds a lot of tension and drama and depth to the song, which I think just adds everything to it. That just brings it up another level. Great song, dude.
Have you ever heard this song before?
I have heard this album, but I didn't sit there and study it and be like, oh, let me listen to it again and again and again. So in passing, yes, but not really
paying attention to it and stuff like that.
When you put on an album, listener, oh, let me check this out, and you put it on, you're doing other shit. Yeah, that was kind of it.
All right.
You ready?
Yes. Before we leave, let me say something first. I'm gonna set this up. I'm gonna paint a picture. All right, man. So. Yeah,
side or up down?
No, side to side. So
like this?
I'm definitely bringing us back to the 80s on the next 3 songs. These aren't really This isn't really bands or artists that I loved as a kid in the 80s, but for some reason they all stayed with me where I was like, man, I love that song. Oh, man, I got to do this. So go ahead and bring me to the next song, Chris.
All right, here we go.
All right. This is Duran, Save a Prayer. And when, the videos came out, when the music and the concerts, I fucking hated Duran. Fuck these fucking fucks. Where's Iron Maiden? Where's Led Zeppelin? Where's Dio? And I was that guy. I was, of course, in the early part of the 80s, I'm a early teen.
Yeah.
I was angry. I didn't want to hear fucking Pretty Boy Duran shit. But at some point in my life, I heard this song, and I heard it, Chris. It made me fall in love with it. This is a fucking romantic song.
You tell a funny story because I got one that's similar. When I was in elementary school, when Duran was, I think it was the 7 and the Ragged Tiger, the Reflex, that kind of stuff was out, Arena, their album. And I was into, whatever music I was into at that time, but I remember there was this girl I liked, and her favorite band was Duran. So now my favorite band is Duran. So as much as I may or may not want to listen to them, I now listen to everything Duran, so I could,
have a conversation
in elementary school. God, the way the mind works.
Let me add a little more to you, a little depth for me. I was never the guy that turned to music that I wasn't in love with because of a girl. I had to stay true to myself. I had to stay hard rock and heavy metal because I loved it. I couldn't change.
Is that kind of like how all the guys at the school started wearing the silky shirts and you were still wearing your Van Halen, Iron Maiden shirts? You're like, no way, man. I ain't wearing no silkies.
Yes, that's exactly how it was, Chris. I couldn't change just for girls. If they didn't like the music I was and they didn't like me for that, I couldn't change. I needed to find someone who liked my music. I needed to find someone who liked Iron Maiden, who liked Van Halen, who liked, Black Sabbath. I needed to find somebody. Now, they were very rare and few, and it took a long time to find somebody, but there were times that I couldn't change, Chris. I had to be true to myself. Just couldn't do it. But like I said, nowadays, I matured a little bit, and I really love Duran. I can go back to the 80s and hear all those 80s music and all those 80s songs and love it and dance and go crazy, and that's just me now.
And I've seen you dance.
Yeah, thanks, man.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
Like I said, I love this song. I think it's great. Go ahead and bring me to the next one. I got another quick story with it. If you can't tell, if you're old school.
A band that we've talked about before.
Yeah, we've talked about before.
I know it doesn't really fall in our thing that we do, but we definitely got to do.
Yes,
we definitely got to do these.
Yes,
go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. This is a band called INXS. They came out with an album, and it was in 1987 that was released. Same thing. I think this was their second or third hit, and it took a little while. I saw the video. It took a second to really appreciate it. But in the end, I thought this is a great song too. This is a great band, I loved it. So
this might be the best song you have on your list. I take it back. I think this might be the best song you have. I love INXS. The album Kick from top to bottom is great. Michael Hutchinson, bless his soul, rest in peace. One of the great frontmen from the late 80s and of all time. Great voice, great presence. I think they had 358 members in the band. It seemed like it, dude, everybody they had in there. But man, love this song. This is a great song.
This is a great song.
This is, even though it was released and it was a hit and it was a single, people never think of this song when they think of this band. And I love it. This is just about, we're going to stay together. Nothing's ever going to tear us apart. We are strong. We are one. And nothing's going to stop that kind of thing. I love it, dude. I love it.
And at the time, I couldn't appreciate INXS and even Duran. They played their own instruments. They played, and that was my big thing. Oh, they don't play. They're just playing a fucking synthesizer or a keyboard. No. If you really looked at them and followed, they're playing instruments. They're playing music. It's just some of it was more keyboard first instead of guitar first.
How are you on the saxophone solos?
Because it's INXS, I'm good with it. Yeah. It made me, like I said, I fell in love with this song, and it's just always been one of those songs that I've always loved from them.
It's almost like, and I do love this song, I love INXS, with the sax solo can be so polarizing, but in their instance, it's so different than like a band that throws in a saxophone solo. They have a saxophone player in the band. That's part of their band. Yes, they do the sax solo, so it's a little different. And it never doesn't work with them. Nothing they do doesn't work, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And this song is outer limits.
It's just
dude. I love
excellent, right? And I'm sorry if I didn't say it before. Duran's album Rio came out in '82.
Yeah.
So '82. This is '87, and the next one's '84. So go ahead and bring me to the next song, Chris.
Yeah.
This is my final song on my playlist for the Valentine's Day special. Now, this song I've had in my arsenal for a very fucking long time.
Locked and loaded.
I love this song. And when I first heard it, I saw the video, and I was like, oh my God, I love this song. But this is Rick Springfield. This is from his album Hard to Hold. And this is a song called Don't Walk Away. Now, if you notice, Chris, my first song that I played was Don't Walk Away from Danger Danger. Mm-hmm. So what I did was I sandwiched these Don't Walk Aways in between my playlists.
You are very clever, my friend. Very clever.
This is Rick Springfield. He did a movie in '84. He was still big on Jesse's Girl and shit like that, right? But oh my God,
General Hospital. Was
Yeah, General Hospital. This song took me for a loop. It was In Love. Same thing with some of these songs that I talked about. Don't walk away from our love. We'll make it work. It's just a different way of saying it. And I really dug this. I think this is a classic 80s song because you can hear the synthesizers in the background going, making it feel. I don't think the movie was very good, but the soundtrack kicked ass. You know what I mean? Any thoughts on this?
I will tell you this. So I'm looking at the album cover right now. The album cover sounds exactly what the song. Hey, we have an album cover you look at. What do you think the song sounds like? This is what it sounds like, dude. I love it. It's great. It's Rick Springfield. It's 80s. It's synth. It's rock. It's pop.
Yeah.
Great message in the song. And yeah, dude, we're going to dial up the cheese meter a little bit here. We got the sexy saxophone playing, you know?
That, man. Are you sure this is the same saxophonist from Lost Boys?
Oh, God, that was the big buff guy, dude.
The big buff guy doing a little saxophone? Or did he get the guy from INXS?
Maybe.
This is definitely a cheese, but this song I definitely love. I've had it in my arsenal for a long time. I didn't get to play it last year, but I played it this year. I'm going to have to come up with a whole new playlist for next year. I'm going to come up with a theme. My theme, like I told Chris, I went from, 90s to some craziness, some different songs out there, and I wanted to end on the 80s. And that's why I grouped these three at the end. I loved it, man. Like I said,
listen to that.
Yeah, dude, listen to that keyboard.
It's almost like a synthy saxophone.
It was. That's good. I so love this song so much, man.
Hey, guess what, Greg? You know where you can find us?
No, where?
On TikTok and Instagram, the Big Talk Podcast, at BigTalkCG.podcast, YouTube, Facebook, the Big Talk Podcast with Chris and Greg. It's 3 G's, 1 in the front, 2 in the back. Spotify, Apple, Samsung, Google, everywhere. Search us out, find us. And remember, guys, Valentine's Day is for all you lovers in training.
That's right, man. We love you. Anyways, Nation, thank you very much for listening to Chris's Part 1, Gregg Part 2. We love you very much. We love each other. We say it too damn much to each other. But through everything, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. This is Gregg from the Big Talk Podcast. See ya! Don't walk away!